Have you ever wondered why you can follow every piece of health advice perfectly? Walking your daily steps, eating right, staying active. Yet you still end up with legs that feel heavy, ankles that swell by the afternoon, or feet that feel perpetually cold. It is one of the most frustrating paradoxes of aging. You are doing the work, but your body doesn't seem to be getting the message. As a physician who has spent years helping older adults maintain their independence, I hear this story almost every day. It usually starts with a patient telling me they are just getting old. But when we look closer, we find that the issue isn't just age, it is simple mechanics. There is a fundamental misunderstanding about how blood moves through your body once you pass your 60th birthday, and unfortunately, standard walking often isn't enough to fix it. The reality is that poor circulation in the lower legs is more than just a nuisance that requires thick socks. It is a quiet signal that your body is struggling to fight gravity. When blood flow slows down, it doesn't just cause discomfort, it changes the health of your skin, your nerves, and your muscles. It can make you unsteady on your feet, leading to falls that change your life in an instant. But here is the reassuring part: the solution is rarely complicated surgery or aggressive medication. It is usually about understanding a tiny, biological pump hidden inside your legs that needs a specific kind of jumpstart. We are going to walk through a progression of 5 specific movements that are designed to do what walking sometimes fails to do. These aren't high-intensity gym workouts. These are precise, medical-grade movements that target the deep veins and muscles responsible for returning blood to your heart. When you understand how to activate them, you change the environment inside your legs. You go from a stagnant system to a flowing one. This matters because your heart is an incredibly powerful pump, but it has a design flaw. It is located at the top of the system, while your feet are at the bottom. Getting blood down is easy, gravity does the work. Getting it back up requires help. That help comes from your muscles, specifically in your calves and thighs. If those muscles aren't squeezing in the right way, the blood lingers. By learning to squeeze them correctly, you can effectively turn the tide, reducing that heavy, wooden feeling in your legs and protecting your mobility for decades to come. Let's begin gently with a movement that requires zero equipment and barely any energy, yet acts as a wake-up call for your entire lower vascular system. Think of this as flipping the switch to turn the engine on. We often call this the seated ankle rocker. It is the perfect place to start because you can do it while reading a book or watching your favorite program. The goal here is to manually compress the veins in your lower calf without the stress of standing. When you sit for long periods, blood tends to pool in the feet simply because there is no movement to push it upward. This exercise mimics the natural pumping action of walking without the impact. To do it, sit comfortably in a chair with your feet flat on the floor. The movement is a rhythmic rocking motion. First, lift your toes toward your shins as high as they will go while keeping your heels planted firmly. You should feel a stretch in the front of your ankle. Then, rock forward, pressing your toes down and lifting your heels as high as possible, like you are pressing down on a gas pedal. That is one cycle. The magic here isn't in how hard you press, but in the rhythm. You want to perform this smoothly, aiming for 20 to 30 repetitions. What you are doing is mechanically squeezing the venous cushion in the sole of your foot and the lower calf. This is often the first exercise we give to patients recovering from leg procedures because it is safe and effective at moving stagnant fluid. If you make this a habit, perhaps doing a set every time a commercial break comes on TV, you provide your veins with a consistent assist throughout the day. It prevents that pressure buildup that leads to evening swelling. It is a small movement, but it signals to your body that it is time to circulate, not stagnate. Once we have the blood moving at the ankle level, we need to address the muscles that support the heavy lifting further up the leg. This brings us to the seated leg extension. This might look like a simple knee exercise, but for circulation and mobility, it is a powerhouse. As we age, we often lose strength in the quadriceps, the large muscles on the front of the thigh, and the hip flexors. These muscles are critical because they act as the primary stabilizers when you walk. If they are weak, your walking stride shortens and you slow down. Medical data tells us that walking speed is actually a vital sign. Slower walking often correlates with a higher risk of health complications. By strengthening these muscles, we improve your ability to walk briskly, which in turn helps your overall circulation. To perform this, sit tall in a sturdy chair. It is crucial that you don't slouch. Keep your back pressed against the chair support to ensure your core is engaged. Slowly straighten one leg out in front of you until your knee is as straight as it can comfortably be. Here is the detail that makes it effective. Hold that position for a full 2 seconds. Squeeze the thigh muscle, then lower it slowly. Do not let gravity drop your foot. You control the descent. Aim for 10 to 15 repetitions on one leg before switching to the other. By doing this, you are forcing the large veins in the thigh to compress and release, pushing a significant volume of blood back toward the torso. Over time, as this becomes easier, you can add a light ankle weight, but even using the weight of your own leg is enough to make a difference. This movement builds the endurance you need to climb stairs or get out of a car with confidence, ensuring your legs remain strong enough to act as a pump all day long. Now, we need to transition to standing to address the single most important muscle group for preventing falls and maintaining blood flow to the calves. This brings us to the supported heel raise. If you look at the anatomy of the lower leg, the calf muscle is often referred to as the peripheral heart. Every time you take a step, this muscle contracts and shoots blood upward against gravity. However, as we get older, we tend to shuffle more and push off less with our toes. This means the calf muscle stops working through its full range of motion and the pump becomes weak. This exercise restores that full range. Stand behind a sturdy chair or a kitchen counter and rest your fingertips lightly on the surface for balance. This isn't a balance test yet, so feel free to use the support. Position your feet hip-width apart. Slowly rise up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels as high as you can. Pause at the very top for a second, then lower yourself down slowly. The downward phase should take about 3 seconds. That slow tempo is vital. Gravity wants to pull you down quickly. By resisting it, you force the muscle fibers to work harder, which strengthens the vessel walls and improves valve function in the veins. Aim for 2 sets of 10 repetitions. You might feel a slight burn in the back of your lower legs, and that is a good sign. It means you are waking up muscle fibers that have likely been dormant. Stronger calves don't just move blood better, they provide the propulsion you need to walk with a steady, confident gait, reducing the likelihood of catching your toe on a rug or curb. As we progress, we must address the connection between circulation and stability. It is difficult to maintain an active lifestyle if you are afraid of falling, and fear of falling is one of the biggest reasons seniors stop moving. When movement stops, circulation suffers. To break this cycle, we use the single leg balance hold. This might seem like a pure balance exercise, but strictly speaking, it is also a circulation booster because of something called time under tension. When you stand on one leg, the muscles in that standing leg, from the foot arch all the way to the glutes, must make thousands of micro adjustments every second to keep you upright. These constant, tiny contractions create a continuous massaging effect on the deep veins, keeping blood from pooling. Stand next to your counter or a wall. Shift your weight completely on one leg. Lift the other foot just an inch off the floor. It doesn't need to be high. Keep your standing knee slightly soft, not locked out. Try to hold this position for 20 to 30 seconds. Use your hand on the counter for support as much as you need, but try to use less support over time. Maybe just one finger, or hovering your hand just above the surface. You will feel the muscles in your standing ankle working vigorously. That work is essential. It trains your brain and your nerves to react quickly to instability, which is the key to catching yourself if you trip. Simultaneously, it keeps the blood in that leg moving under pressure. By practicing this daily, you are building a safety net for yourself, ensuring that you have the stability to keep walking, gardening, and enjoying life, which is ultimately the best medicine for your circulation. Finally, we arrive at the most potent movement in this entire routine. This is the exercise that combines strength, the pump mechanism, and control into one highly effective action. We call it the standing calf raise with a static hold. While the earlier heel raises were about movement, this one is about the squeeze. It addresses a specific issue: venous insufficiency, or the inability of the veins to send blood back up quickly enough. By holding the contraction, you are essentially wringing out the sponge, forcing the maximum amount of fluid out of the lower extremities and back into central circulation. Stand at your support surface again. Rise up onto your toes, just as before. But this time, when you reach the peak of the movement, I want you to stay there. Hold that position for a full 3 to 5 seconds. Count it out slowly. While you are holding, keep breathing. Then lower down with complete control. The difference here is that sustained contraction at the top, it generates a higher pressure within the muscle compartment, which is incredibly effective at moving stubborn fluid that has pooled around the ankles. Aim for 8 to 10 of these high-quality repetitions. This is not about speed, it is about precision. If you do this correctly, you are mimicking the most demanding phase of the gait cycle, but in a controlled, safe environment. Surgeons and rehabilitation specialists love this movement because it provides a high return on investment. It strengthens the Achilles tendon, stabilizes the ankle, and acts as a powerful localized pump for the venous system. It is the closest thing we have to a manual reset button for lower leg blood flow. When you look at these 5 movements together, you see a complete system. You have the ankle rockers to wake the legs up, the seated lifts to power the thighs, the heel raises to build the engine, the balance holds to stabilize the structure, and the static holds to maximize the flow. The beauty of this routine is that it respects your time and your physiology. It doesn't require you to get on the floor or buy expensive gear. It acknowledges that your body has changed, and it provides a strategy to work with those changes rather than fighting against them. Walking is wonderful, and you should absolutely continue to walk. It is good for your heart, your lungs, and your mind. But walking alone leaves gaps in your defense against aging. It relies heavily on momentum. These exercises fill those gaps by creating deliberate, focused contractions that walking simply cannot provide. They target the specific weak points that tend to develop after age 60. By dedicating just 10 to 15 minutes a day to this routine, you are doing more than just exercising. You are performing daily maintenance on your body's most critical infrastructure. You are ensuring that your legs remain light, your balance remains steady, and your independence remains simpler to maintain. It is never too late to start improving your circulation. The vascular system is incredibly responsive. Whether you are 60, 70, or 80, your muscles can still get stronger, and your veins can still work more efficiently if you give them the right stimulus. I encourage you to try these movements. Start with the ones you feel most comfortable with, perhaps the seated ones, and gradually work your way up. Listen to your body. If something hurts, stop and reset, but be consistent. The cumulative effect of these small, daily actions is profound. I would love to know which of these movements feels most helpful to you. Sometimes the simplest changes bring the biggest relief. If you found this explanation helpful, please consider sharing your experience in the comments. We read them to understand what helps you most. And before you go, there is another aspect of leg health that is often overlooked. It involves a simple wall-based technique that can further enhance your joint stability. It is the perfect companion to what we have discussed today, and it is coming up right next on your screen. Thank you for your time, and here is to your health and strong, steady steps forward.